Pretty much every collector I've spoken to has at one time or another encountered a surprise penny machine along their travels. It's just one that they weren't expecting. And at first, you usually feel excited because you've found a new machine, but then quickly dread may actually start to come in because you're just not sure if you've got enough extra pennies on hand. And if you do, maybe they're not your coveted copper kind. I had this happen to me years ago when I was visiting an aquarium at the New Jersey shore at Seaside. And I had done my research before going. I had checked pennycollector.com, as many of us do, and had seen that this aquarium had a 3Design electric machine there. So I made sure I had enough pennies and quarters, set off on my trip, and when I got there, I did find the 3Design machine, but to my surprise, right beside it was a second machine, which was a 4Design, one of the hand crank manual models. And I didn't, like I said at the beginning, I was excited because there was a brand new machine, but at the same time, I didn't bring any extra change. Shame on me. I should have known better. There was a gift shop nearby. I did go in, and the cashier was very nice to give me plenty of quarters when I changed them out. But I did get some pennies that they gave me out of the till, but unfortunately, they were zinc pennies, and I didn't want to push my luck and ask if I could kind of root through their till looking for some copper, so I just figured better safe than sorry, let me just take these. I went and pressed a set, and it was great. I was happy to have them, but to be honest, it kind of nagged at me for a while, and it was probably a week or so before I couldn't take it any longer, and I actually jumped back in my car and drove there with some precious copper pennies just to press a proper set for my collection. So at that time, that's when I vowed I never wanted to run into that again, and is when I came up with this. I basically call it my emergency press penny kit. So this has changed a little bit over the years, but this is currently my setup that I've been using for a while. And what we're gonna do, let's take a little closer look at it. I'll go through what I have inside. I'll kind of give you some information about where I got everything for this. So that way, in case you're interested, maybe you're putting something together similar for your own trips in the future. Most of these items you can find at any crafting store like Michael's or Hobby Lobby. Those are kind of the ones we have around our area. The plastic container can be found in the jewelry storage section of the stores. There are various sizes of the container with different numbers of compartments inside. The one I have is a bit of overkill for what I need it for, but I just use some of the extra compartment sections for additional storage. I knew that I wanted it to fit in the center console of our car, so that's what I based the size on when I was picking it out at the store. But as you can see here, there are many different sizes, so just pick the size that you think is going to work best for your situation. Also in the jewelry store are these little zip top bags. Usually when you buy them, they come in boxes of 150 to 200 quantity, depending on the size you get. I do like these because once I've actually pressed the coins, I keep them in here just to kind of help keep them organized. This way each set is self-contained and helps just a little bit with the organization. Just like the plastic containers, these baggies come in many different sizes, but I prefer these smaller ones, which are 2" by 3 3/4 inch size. I also use these baggies sometimes when I'm making a real quick trip out just to get a couple coins, either for myself or for a friend or a fellow collector. And what I do is I just kind of put some quarters and pennies directly in the little baggie, throw it in my pocket. That way it just kind of keeps it safe from my keys, my cell phone, my wallet. And then once I've actually pressed the pennies, the final ones I do put back in the baggie, keep it in my pocket. And again, more just for organization purposes so that I don't lose it, because I've also done that sometimes, sat in my car and the penny will fall out, and then I'm back in there later on searching through my car trying to figure out what happened to it. So I just find keeping them in little baggies just helps keep them safe. All right, now let's take a look inside the container and see how I have this set up. Up here is where I have a bunch of those little baggies we talked about earlier. That way when I get some new pressed coins, I can put them in there to keep them safe until I get back home. Here's actually one of the ones from the machine we used in the opening video. Next, I have a few Canadian $1 coins, or what they more commonly call a loonie. These have been collected from a previous trip up north. I usually exchange back any bills that I have left over from a trip back to American, but the loonies I keep for future trips since that's what most of their press penny machines cost, and I figure I'm going to use them eventually, so I may as well just hold on to them. To be honest, I don't really have any better place to store them, so that's why I kind of keep them in here. In the middle is where I keep an extra tube of copper pennies. This is kind of overkill since the bottom compartments are where I keep most of the loose coins, but over time these do start to get low and I always want to keep an extra roll just to ensure I never run out on a trip. Then as you can see, these last two compartments is where I keep all the loose quarters and of course copper pennies. That's it, pretty simple, and it has saved me more times than I really care to admit. I pride myself on doing lots of research before all my trips, whether it's a week-long vacation, a weekend staycation, or maybe just a day trip down the highway to an attraction I haven't visited before. And most of the time, I'm good to go. I've got the right amount of quarters and pennies so that I don't have any issue. But as I said, sometimes you get, and I'm sure you found it too, there are machines where the design will roll a little short. So you press it a couple more times to try and make sure you get it a little more center on the actual penny so that it looks nice in your collection. Or, as this emergency kit was really created for, are those surprise machines that you just didn't know about or were not anticipating along your journey. It's really just a simple solution that has just become part of my collecting supplies, and it's just a comfort to know it's always in my car anytime I need it. Well, that's my tip for this week. Hopefully you found it helpful, and maybe it's something you'll implement for your own collecting trips. I'd be curious to hear all about it. Also, on a quick side note, have you ever found a new penny machine that wasn't listed on the pennycollector.com website? I'd love to hear all about it. Let me know down in the comments below if you did and where it was. I know myself, I've found probably, 4, 5, or 6 that I've reported. It's always an exciting feeling to be able to add one to the website so that other collectors maybe traveling through the area will be able to know about the machine and go use it, which is really cool. I think that's a fantastic website. If you haven't seen it, I'll leave a little link below. You can check it out, but I'm sure if you've been collecting pressed pennies for a while, you probably already know all about it. Thank you for visiting again this week, Penny Pals. Remember, stay prepared and keep on pressing.